We went there and we said that we want a shoe. The person said, 1 lakh रुपए लगेगा सोल बनाने का. दे पाओगे? Now here in India, studs cost us 10,000 rupees. Shoe which could place the sole whenever you want, and then you start with the studs again. Easy. Carry in your bag, wherever you want to go, you can go.
Hi everyone, welcome to this very exciting episode. In today's episode, what we are going to do is we are going to talk about these successful case studies where some of our students went to Stanford and UPenn. We are going to discuss this with the two of our stalwarts, Shrishti and Nitin sir. Let's just discuss the projects, but also discuss the qualities of all these students, Maanya, Ujjwal, Avihan. So let's start with Maanya. Shrishti, how do you want to introduce Maanya to us?
I think Maanya is someone you can easily have a conversation with. In anywhere you meet her, whether it could be a restaurant or maybe on a street. She's always going to be this chirpy kid who will always attract a lot of attention. I was her research mentor and her project focused on looking at different aspects of women empowerment and the difficulties all those women face who were entrepreneurs working on the small businesses. And Maanya had a business profile altogether. Just to talk a little bit more about Maanya's project in Cubanari. Right, she gave a platform to a lot of small female entrepreneurs and she provided them different resources that would be required for their business. I think her research project first also looked at the challenges that all these women were facing and that's how she translated everything into a project. Right, maybe there was some entrepreneur who actually required marketing support, some required loans for their home bakeries. Right, so that's what Incubanari was about, and she had that inspiration coming out of a research paper which she spent a lot of time on, reading a lot of research papers, designing her survey, doing her interviews, talking to a lot of women in Bangalore. She was really hardworking, very resilient, very determined, and she took a lot of time to complete her project, of course. But that's because she was also juggling with a lot of other things. But she made sure that she's the one who finishes it till the end and not look for a shortcut.
No, absolutely, I agree, because I remember when in the very beginning I started interacting with Maanya, one thing that came across very regularly was that she was busy with her exams, right? She was busy with a lot of schoolwork. And she was a really proactive scholar and she used to do a lot of things at school. And I think this is something that we often forget, that at the end of the day, your school LORs are really important. You know, how you are looked at in this school, it is really important, especially for a person who doesn't know you. For a person, especially the admission officers, the school is the most important validation. It is the most important place, most legitimate place to talk about the scholar. And yes, she was doing all of that, but she was also doing in Cubanari. She was also writing a research paper. She was also working on her website that Nitin sir was working on with. Nitin sir, anything? Yeah.
Maanya was totally a different personality. I used to meet her only at the night 10 p.m. She was busy in the daytime with the schools and all the other things. I worked with her on her Incubanari website. I worked on her personal portfolio website. And it was something, website are not about what you're putting into it. It's all about what knowledge you really have.
Absolutely.
She used to discuss about her projects with me. She used to tell me these are the things I am doing. Then we used to ideate out, okay, these are the things you are doing, how we are going to put it to the public. Or we are going to put it to the admission officer. From the first day, we looked into two different perspectives, market and admission. She used to look, okay, this looks good for the market, but will the admission officer able to understand it? So we used to tweak it, wait to 2 p.m. night only and complete it and move ahead. We used to meet 2 times a week, but the project really took time because there were multiple ideas in her mind. But she was real, down to earth, used to meet me very frankly, talk to me very frankly. When she came here also, used to enjoy a lot on multiple things and complete the project.
Maanya's idea of how she needs to look after every single detail in her projects. I think that also made her stood out a lot. Like whatever workshops she was doing within Cubanari, her entire social media, whatever posts she was running, they were very well thought.
Yeah.
Right, she was always connecting, even during her exams.
Yeah.
She was always doing some incubinary workshop out there.
Yeah.
And when it comes to her research paper as well, she would always have all those questions in terms of if something was not making sense, then why is it not making sense?
I think both of you are saying, like, if I can summarize it, like when I say successful, I mean if a scholar, has to reach Stanford, they will reach Stanford. Right? Given the fact that they have to work hard and they have to be consistent. They have to be sincere. And I think with Maanya, what I have seen personally is that, yes, maybe in the very beginning she lacked for projects because of the school, but she was sincere. She worked really hard and she was always respectful. She was always respectful of all the mentors from Athena, all the consulting team members, I'm sure the teachers at school as well. But these are the two traits that we often don't look at when we are looking at a successful profile, right? And I believe that hard work, sincerity, and respect, if these three things are there, right, which we clearly discussed, there is no limit to a scholar. One very important thing that I saw throughout her journey was the resilience, right? Countless number of people said no to her, that okay, we will give you interview, and that day they didn't turn up. Countless number of people said that okay, you know what, we want to get incubated in this incubinary. They didn't, turn up, but she never stopped. She kept on sending another email, and I think that was really important.
The first thing, you should do the research.
Absolutely.
If you have the perfect research,
Yeah.
you can get a perfect project output.
Absolutely.
If you look at the Maanya project, she has done a lot of research, then brought this up. So even if there were multiple hurdles in her way, she was clear about her research because she has already done it. She knew the problem really exists. Even if you stop me, I'm not worried because I know I have to solve the problem.
I think, Nitin sir, you have brought out a really important point here, understanding the real problem. Right? I think this is something that I see a lot of students try, they miss. And it's not their fault. When they are in 9th grade, 10th grade, it's difficult to understand a problem. And I think it is very consistent in all these students is that they have understood, they have actually genuinely tried to solve one problem.
And I think
Right.
this also
Yeah.
comes from a lot of empathy and being kind as well.
Yeah,
And I
absolutely.
feel these are also very important and essential skills that an admission officer
Yeah.
looks at.
Yeah.
How kind or how empathetic you have been to the community that you are helping,
Yeah.
or community that you are supporting through your projects or your initiatives.
Yeah. I think talking about Nitin sir's point here, understanding the particular problem, let's also talk about Ujjwal Rastogi. Nitin sir, I think you worked with Ujjwal, great kid.
So it's a core problem. The North Indians each year face it.
Yeah.
In the winter season, whenever we travel the highways, we do not have a visibility more than 0.
Yeah.
We drive very slowly, even in the cities. Think of the highways when there is too much of fog.
Yeah.
In the hilly areas or everywhere, you have the fog. Ujjwal was coming to Delhi just to meet us. When he was traveling, that okay, I will meet the team and discuss multiple things. And when he had to reach here in the morning 8, he reached at 12 noon. And I asked them, where were you? He said, there was too much of fog. The visibility was 0. We talked about it and we thought, why don't we solve this problem? Then I said that we can't do anything with the nature. The nature is always there. We can't do it. Can we use technology into it? Then we sat down, we looked into it, and we brought the idea that although there is multiple advanced driving assistance system, ADAS, which we call it, but there is nothing related to laser-based system. So he started working on a project where a laser light can be worked as a object detection system. A camera and a simple laser light, which can give me a straight line and give me that, okay, what is the distance between the object and my camera, and I can, and my vehicle will give me alert which is less than 10 meters or 5 meters. At least out of 100, 50 might stop before they hit the another vehicle.
Absolutely. I think, and this is where a lot of students lack, right? It is a genuine problem that he was trying to solve. And at the end of the day, like, yes, there is a possibility that you might not end up solving that. But what a lot of AOs are also looking for, have you understood the problem? Are you on the right track to solve that problem? I think this is also something that happens these days, is that students try to use a lot of tech keywords, AI, ML, IoT, robotics, want to mix everything, create a khichdi and then try to serve it. Don't do that. You don't need a big tech. You need an interesting problem. that you are trying to solve. Once you do that, that makes more sense to anyone who's reading it, not just AOs, even to you. You'll be genuinely interested in a project, right? Ujjwal was genuinely interested in a project. Maanya was genuinely interested in a project because they wanted to solve that problem. They did their research, they've gone through that problem, and they understood that problem.
I feel another very important quality that was there in both of them was actually patience. They build their profiles, they build their projects not in maybe a week or in a month. It took a lot of time, a lot of effort, and it took a lot of days and months to actually include that hard work and finish their projects and come up to whatever colleges they are going.
Shrishti, talking about patience, I think we should also talk about Zara Jain, right?
Yes.
I mean, I think I have not seen a student and also, family, right, who has so much patience.
So Zara Jain's research project, it took more than 1 year to finish. And not because Zara was really busy with a lot of other things or she was struggling, but it delayed and it took so much time because we were working with understanding the attachment patterns of foster children. Right. And the community and the NGO that she was...
And the government as well.
The government as well.
Yeah.
Reaching out, reaching out to, they asked for a lot of documentation.
Yeah.
Which took 1 year.
Yeah. And the back and forth was endless. It was infinite. Absolutely. Someone in this particular system is not interested. Let's do it again. Let's do it again. She never gave up. And whenever she felt, little overwhelmed with this whole process, I think we had some of the best consultants who was working with her, consoled her, made sure that her profile was going in the right direction. And I think that is something that stood out to me. And I think she ended up at Penn. Again, another kid, lots of patience, lots of resilience, lots of hard work, right? Lots of consistency.
She platform with me for the same project.
Yeah.
She was the one who really told me that what is Singapore is all about. How the people are looking into it. What are foster kids, basically. How the things are going. In India, we do not cater those things. But in Singapore, it's a totally different thing. How the rules move. Then before bringing the platform, we had to look into what are the rules of Singapore, which we cannot put it on the website because it was totally opposite to government policies.
Yeah.
So totally her involvement into it and her family adopting a person that catered the things.
Yeah.
And then she told me how the things move.
Yeah. Very personal insight where she got the project and the idea from. And that is again like with the same pattern what Maanya and Ujjwal was doing, right? Personal. Was able to do a lot of research to understand the problem and then tried to solve the problem.
There is one more story of Avihan Jain.
Yeah. Yeah.
He did a lot of research.
Yeah.
A football player.
Yeah.
He wanted to do something for the kids because he have 50 friends. Out of them, only 10 could afford a 10,000 rupees shoes. But others were not able to do it.
Yeah.
Even if they could get the shoes, they were not able to cope up with how to go with football and again go for the running.
Yeah.
So he thought that why don't I make a shoe which can be manipulated? I said it's not an easy task.
Yeah.
Then we both sat down, researched on it. Went to the Nike website and looked into how they designed one of the shoes. Now, here in India, studs cost us 10,000 rupees. A sports shoes cost us 1,500 rupees. Maximum 15,000 rupees.
Yeah.
There are the Nike shoes, which was reversible, was only costing $15,000.
Oh.
Too much for it. We looked into it, we researched on it, we talked about the resources, we talked about how the Crocs make a shoe which can has a replaceable things. Then we researched on it. He was going for technology, moved to product design, then moved to physics back to talk about material sciences, and then moved to chemical engineering.
Yeah.
And then land up into a shoe which has a replaceable sole. Shoe which could place the sole whenever you want. And then you start with the studs again.
Yeah.
Easy. Carry in your bag. Wherever you want to go, you can go.
And I remember on top of that, he was also going to all these factories, all the, relevant stakeholders, doing what is required to be done, right? Being there, understanding, अच्छा यहाँ factory में ये problem है, अच्छा यहाँ ये हमें problem दे सकता है, right? And then reiterating and then working on it, troubleshooting. To be honest, by the end, like how Avihan came to us, and by the end of doing this whole project, he became a completely different person, right?
I feel
Yeah.
all these kids also learn a lot from their failures.
Yeah.
Avihan did not develop his shoe in a day.
Yeah.
He failed multiple times.
Yeah.
And those failures made him more resilient.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it motivated him to just keep going.
Yeah.
Going.
Yeah.
And I feel this right support from the mentors, the parents, and the peers also plays a really huge role in a scholar's project and their journey. Like for Avihan Jain, like for Zara Jain, like for Maanya Singh, Ujjwal Rastogi, all of them. They had a lot of support from their peers, their families, and also their mentors as well.
Yeah.
Right. Even if they doubted themselves at any point of time, they were these people who were cheering them up to go on and complete what you were doing.
Absolutely.
So I remember one of the case of Avihan Jain. We went to the factory. The person was Avihan Jain never went to such a factory where there was too much of foul smell and everything. A factory was more smaller than this room. We went there and we said that we want a shoe. The person said, 1 lakh रुपए लगेगा सोल बनाने का तुम दे पाओगे? Avihan Jain could not understand. We were expecting a shoe which had to be only 2,500 rupees. Spending only a sole or a mold which is 1 lakh rupees, it's a totally different thing.
Yeah.
Then we talked to that person. We tried to convince him really what we wanted. Then he gave us some of the samples. Avihan took the samples back, talked to his grandfather, sat with him for 2 months. I used to ask him what is going on. Then he used to send me multiple images of the samples that this is final we are coming with. Then we went again to that factory and in one go, the factory person was ready to design it. He said, what an idea. You're such a small kid and we have never thought about this. It is something, it's a patience of families.
Absolutely.
If the hard work even of the families, that they have confidence on their kid, mentor and everyone. And you say research. The research takes time but it gives a better outcome.
I think what both of you are trying to say is that, failures and setbacks, they're not looked at from a negative point of view. Either from the parents, from us as mentors, from the families, right? Failures and setbacks should be celebrated, should be looked at as a part of development of a scholar, right? Mental, physical, whatever, right? They are going out, they're learning, they're looking at the real world, right? They're in grade 11, up till I think by 21, 22, they will not see the real world. But in this case, in all these 4 cases, they have dealt with the real world. And that is what is going to shape them. And that is what is going to be translated into their essays. This is going to be their uniqueness that they will contribute to a particular college, to a particular university. And again, all these uniqueness is something that is celebrated by any admission officer, by any university. They are not going to look for anyone who's just gotten straight A's. They're going to look at a person who's seen failure, who's seen setbacks, who have come out of those who worked hard, right? And I think this has been a consistent thing in all our scholars.
Working with a truck driver, working with a shoe manufacturer, working with women who need employment. Anyone else you look into, who are good into projects. They really have connection to their roots.
It's all these experiences that matter.
Absolutely. Thank you for discussing these wonderful students. This was really insightful. And looking forward to nurture and help more students to be the better version of themselves, and I'm sure they'll get into the top universities. So thank you for tuning in up till now. Always remember one thing, it is the hard work and the sincerity that will take you to anywhere in the world. And don't worry, if you are facing any difficulty, you have a lot of mentors who can help you, guide you, and we are here for sure. If you like this video, then make sure to like, share and subscribe. Thank you.